Hello everyone, today I want to introduce you to a very special guest. He's always there when I'm filming, you might have heard him in the background a few times, and that is my cat, Binx. And today is a very, very special day for him. He came home to me on August 19th, 2024, so as of today, he has been my cat for 2 whole years. Since he's a rescue, we don't know his exact birthday, so we basically treat today as his birthday, so happy 2nd birthday, Binx. To celebrate, I thought I'd make a video all about him. And how would I do that? Well, today, he is going to help me design some FAKÉMON. To do that, I wrote some prompts on pieces of paper and put cat treats on them, and whichever one he picks is the prompt I'll be following. We will be designing 2 FAKÉMON in today's video, so let's get started. To start off, I laid out all 18 Pokemon types on the floor and let Binx choose 2 of them for each Pokemon, and for the first one he chose Steel and Normal, a pretty interesting combination. And then he picked what the Pokemon would be based on, the options being Animal, Plant, Object, and Mythology. And for this he picked Animal, combining Steel type with an animal. We'll see how that goes. And for his second one he picked Fairy and Fighting. Pretty good choices if I do say so myself, and we'll be basing it on Mythology, which I was really hoping he'd pick. And for this second one, to spice it up a bit, I also let him pick the colour scheme. For this he had 4 options. Rainbow, meaning I get to pick everything myself, the boring one. Monochromatic, meaning I only use one colour but different shades. Random, meaning completely random colours. And mystery, meaning not even I will know the colours. And Binx picked the most exciting option of the 4, mystery. So now that our options have been selected by our honoured guest, let's get right into the designs. Starting off with our Steel Normal Animal. I was originally going to base it off a Pangolin and have it be a very defensive Pokemon, before discovering that Sandshrew and Sandslash are actually primarily based off Pangolins and didn't want to step on their toes. So I instead redirected my idea to be based on a ram, specifically the idea that it could use its horns like battering rams, haha, and they would be made of steel. I started off by doing this sort of concept sketch. It's very messy, but it's there to give me a good idea of what I want the final design to look like. While creating this sketch, I came up with and kind of ended up leaning into the idea of making it look somewhat like a metal worker. And I did this by changing the markings on its face to mimic protective eye gear and the markings on its body to look like an apron. Kinda. You try putting an apron on a ram, it wasn't very easy. I also wanted its tail to kind of look like a circular saw, but fluffy? Although all this fluff on the Pokemon isn't actually meant to be soft. Imagine it like steel wool, it's kind of gritty and harsh to touch. I mapped out the colours on this sketch to see what I liked, but I ended up kind of altering it in the final product anyway, so... This is only my 2nd time making my own completely original FAKÉMON that aren't type swaps or based on pre-existing Pokemon like my evolution videos, but I would love to do more of these. And in fact, I have another one planned that I'm working on right now. If you have any ideas you want me to turn into a FAKÉMON, please do let me know in the comments because I have such a blast making these. And, while you're down there, I'm setting a goal to reach 2,000 subscribers by the end of the year. If you want to help me reach that goal, please consider subscribing. I have lots of other Pokemon videos for you to watch, and if you're into art, which I'm assuming you at least have some interest in if you're watching this video, consider joining my art Discord server. It's a fun place to chill, hang out, share your art, meet other artists, and everyone in there is super nice. The link is at the top of my description if you're curious. And here is the finished FAKÉMON design. I'm actually really happy with it, and even if it's a strange concept, I think it came together well. And I never would have put these ideas together if it weren't for Binx. I really like that pop of yellowy gold I added. I think it really shines in the design, and I'd probably want to use this Pokemon on my team if it was real. As always, let me know in the comments what you think about it, and let's move on to the next design. To refresh your memory, the prompts Binx picked for this FAKÉMON were a Fairy Fighting type with a mystery colour scheme based on Mythology. The combination of Fairy and Fighting immediately made me think of Valkyries. I know they aren't fairies, but they're winged warriors, and I really like the idea of basing a FAKÉMON off them. I wanted to make her humanoid, but also wanted to avoid just making a Gardevoir with wings, so I leaned into the warrior aspect by creating markings on the body akin to armour, and of course, many sets of wings. Even the hair fanning out into wings at the bottom, I don't know, I just really liked that. If you're wondering how the mystery colour scheme will work, my plan is to turn the display on my screen to be completely grayscale, then generate a random colour scheme using this website here. That way the colours are a complete complete mystery to me. And to add an extra layer of mystery for you watching, I'll be turning the video grayscale too, so you have no clue either. We can have a fun reveal together at the end, and hopefully it'll look good. While you're here and you're watching this, since today is a special video about my cat, I thought I'd share his story with you and how he came to live with me. This story is a little bit sad in places, but I still wish to share it to celebrate him. So back around June, July time of 2024, one of my sister's friends was out walking somewhere when they heard noises coming from a bush. Inside that bush was a tiny, struggling black kitten, clearly far too young to be away from his mother. Luckily, that person's mum was a vet and was able to take care of this kitten for a bit. When they found him, they said he was so severely malnourished, he was likely only a few hours away from dying. Once he was recovered, he was given to a woman who was to take him home and look after him. Unfortunately, she soon found out she had cancer and didn't want to look after a new kitten while going through chemo, so he was returned. After that, he went to a young couple who he stayed with for a few weeks, and all seemed fine until they came back with him. Not much reason other than they just didn't want him anymore. He was shipped off to another house that had a large Irish wolfhound, which, if you don't know what they look like, yep, they're as big as people, who hated this little kitten, so he was returned again. In between his houses, he was returned to a local rescue centre that my sister happened to volunteer at. Around this time, I was looking at getting a cat. Specifically, a female ragdoll, since ragdolls are one of my favourite cats. Knowing this, she proposed the idea that we look after this kitten for a bit, and I agreed. So on the 19th of August, 2024, my sister brought home a tiny little ball of black fur that was Binx. That wasn't the name he came with, but Binx suits him so much better anyway. At first he was very shy and quiet and spent a lot of his first few days hiding. However, as he started to become more comfortable and adjusted, his personality started to show, and that's when I fell absolutely in love with him. And the rest is history. Now that the speed paint is over, I think it's time to reveal the colours of my FAKÉMON. In 3, 2, 1. Oh, it's not terrible. The shading's a little bit green, but other than that, I like how the pinks work together, and I think the blue is a really nice touch. Thank you, Random Colours, you actually did a pretty good job. I probably wouldn't have made it so pink if I could pick the colours myself, but I'm still happy with it. I think I did a pretty good job of balancing the softness of a fairy type with the warrior aspects in the design. I think maybe flying fighting might have been a better type combination for this, but Binx chose fairy and I must honour his choices. Here are the 2 FAKÉMON I designed today, with help from my cat. This was a really fun video to make, and I'm really happy I did something special with him. He's such a funny cat with such a weird personality. He's very, very talkative and clingy, and he loves cuddles, especially under blankets in winter. And I truly just couldn't ask for a better companion. If you want to see more of Binx, he has his own Instagram page where I share updates and cute pictures and videos of him, so check that out if you're curious. Remember to also check out my art Discord server linked in the description. Anyone's welcome to join as long as you remain kind and respectful. Comment any ideas you have for FAKÉMON and I'll be happy to turn them into a reality in a future video. Please do remember to like and subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you later.